Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now.
And another deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and release it. And bring your focus into your heart, that beautiful place where you and God dwells. And hold on to the resonance of my words. Haro chakatamaniata antu irananiata aro enchitia. Haro chakatamaniatam. Horea, horea, horea.
Oso kokoro makakana sa tatero so papasanya no ose. Anyo to kokosananya ose tete so papasanya. Esa onyo.
Yetura de niamaniata aron chakatamaniate era. Haru inchu to kananena maniata. Ora negataya te iananaya.
No mo kosakakanyo o tatasakyo ko no papasananya no. Sokoro koroso. I receive it.
I receive you, my sister.
See, Brains, you don't understand what it is to speak in tongues. You don't. And we got it. We got it. Oh, I got the goose pimples. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you. You are here on the edge. You didn't know where you were for a minute there, huh? Brains, you got confused. But you are at the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. I have Enola with me. I don't know where in the world she is. We're going to figure that out in a minute. But this is a true medicine woman. She is an entrepreneur. She is a spiritual teacher. She is a coach. She's my sister, and I am so glad to have her. I have been following her on social media and on the net, and she is everywhere that you need to be. So welcome her to the edge. Hello, my sister. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you so much for such a beautiful introduction. I am so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. I am. I've been looking forward to this. I've been promoting you for a month and just sitting here waiting. So please introduce my brains to who you are, what you are, and how you show up in the world.
Well, I show up in the world as myself. I am, just all about heart. It's all about heart. It's all about standing in my truth, speaking my truth, and being my truth, and trying to lead by example. So I am a person who works very hard as an entrepreneur. I am an author. I also work as a life coach. I work with women's empowerment and just group empowerment for those startup companies or those startup project efforts when people are just coming together. So I show up in the world quite a few different ways, and I'm so grateful to be that person that assists in lifting others up.
And we both have gaps. Let's smile for the audience.
Yes,
there's a certain power there. There's a certain power there. Yes, so you are originally from Queens, okay?
Yeah.
You are originally from the NYC. Do you miss New York at all?
I do. There's nothing like New York City, and every New Yorker knows that. So, originally from Bayside, New York, born and raised, lived there until I started traveling. So I'm a New Yorker through and through.
So fast forward, tell people why in the world you just uprooted yourself and decided to just be a worldly vagabond and just enjoy all these different places all over the world.
Oh my goodness. So the story goes that I fulfilled the quote unquote American dream, right? I worked the hard job and raised the family and everything else. And then we entered this transition of the second half of our lives. And it's like, you know what? If you don't dream a beautiful dream, then you will be dreamt. I did everything I was supposed to do. Now it was time to do what I love to do. And what I love to do is learn about indigenous cultures, learn about ancient knowledge, and then turn around and teach that ancient knowledge and share with those. I like uplifting people. And so when I finished working in my corporate job, I decided to create my own business. And in creating my own business, I had to sit back and say, what is it that I truly love? And what did I feel that my purpose was? So that's when you step back and you look at God's gifts to you. I am an orator. I love to write. I love to work with art. I love music. So when you are a Jane of all trades, how do you create the framework of what it is that you love to do? And that's what I did. So I started my business off, Infinite Possibilities, Journey to Empowerment. And then the second part of that is, how wide do you cast your net? Some people, they cast a net around their families, others their community, others their state, others their country. And for me, it was worldwide. It was worldwide.
Right. You know, and what's really, really interesting, as I tell people this too, you have traveled all through Asia, Africa, South America, you know, all these great places, but to be welcomed, to be received, and to be able to work closely with indigenous people, native people, tribal people, and women of different cultures, because it is a lot different there, and to be welcomed. Tell us something about the work that you've done, you know, with these tribal women, because I found that so fascinating.
Well, you know, the first and foremost is to respect the culture.
Right.
First and foremost. So what I do is I listen and I learn and I observe. And when you listen and you learn and you observe, instead of coming in with the cup is full and let me tell you what you couldn't do, versus I'm here to learn about what it is that you do, how you do it, and let me be that student, then first and foremost, you don't come in there basically being a know-it-all. You have to come in with your heart open and your ears open, first and foremost, and not a sense of entitlement. So to be welcomed is to also have the universal piece that everyone possesses, but not everybody uses, which is a smile,
Exactly.
laughter, and opening your heart and being willing to embrace things that aren't your norm,
Right.
and being willing to understand that you need to listen to other people's problems, that they're all not the same because they have different belief systems and different traditions tied around them. And then once you understand what the traditions are, and once you understand what the belief systems are, then you can ask the right questions.
Absolutely.
And notice that ask the right questions and not tell anybody anything. You don't go in telling anyone anything.
No, you
So
don't pack your American.
yes. I love the way you said that.
That's what I say when I travel, girl. That is the only thing I pack American is my passport and my credit card. Okay.
Exactly.
Anything else, when I'm traveling internationally, I'm opening myself to the experience. But let's talk a little bit about the experience, because this can be, we both honored God and ourselves by speaking in a sacred tongue. However, when you're in other countries, voodoo is the practice.
Yes.
Voodoo
Yes.
is the doctrine. And brains, voodoo is not to turn you into a frog. Okay.
What we have to realize.
No, this was the original doctrine. I mean, the medicine men and women dealt in the blood, dealt in the spirit, dealt in the fire, dealt in the sacrifice, the facial carvings. All of this is not witchery. This is God to them. This is spirituality to them. Tell me a little bit about your experience with that, because, you know, I would be a little nervous. The first time I went to New Orleans, girl, I was nervous. So I can't even imagine being in a sacred circle with tribal women and medicine women. I would, you know, I'd be a little fearful.
So the first thing is to let go of the fear. The second thing is to understand that there are many roads to God.
That's right.
Think about that. There are many roads to God. It doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it appropriate for you to judge. What it makes is it just makes it different. So what you have to do is you need to step back and understand that people will take that path to God and that journey to God on different roads, and be the observer instead of reacting. Observe. You know, it's like you step back and you honor and you listen and you learn, and there'll be things that you embrace and there'll be things that you reject, and that's quite all right. It's nobody's there to say that one size fits all. You know, I have to embrace every single thing that I see, observe, taste, touch, feel, smell. You know, so what you do is you become the observer, and you let go of judgment, and you go, okay, that's what they prefer. That's okay. It may not be mine, then my thing, but I understand, and I understand in context of what it means and what's taking place. A lot of things are rites of passage. A lot of pieces are ceremony. These traditions go back from way, 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 way before we were born. Yeah. So if you are to understand what's taking place, and if you are to understand a particular ceremony, you need to put it into context of what was it created for? What was the purpose, and what was the impact that was expected? And then once you understand what that ancient knowledge means in context, then you can step back and understand what's taking place around you.
Wow. And it's such an honor to be welcomed into these circles, into these ceremonies. I mean, you know, this is not something that you buy a ticket to and you are an observer, and that this is really, really intense. And then you do get your rites of passage. You do.
Yes, I find that if you aren't true to yourself, and in other words, if you don't do your own work and you don't observe for yourself what it is to be in your own heart and to love the totality of who you are first and foremost, you'll never go anywhere, because the whole thing is you are seen.
Right.
You are seen. There is nothing to hide. If you're an insecure person, your insecurity shows. If you are a person enamored with self, it shows. Who you are is seen. There's no hiding who you are. And that's why, you know, part of the fundamental things that I teach is when you look in the mirror, you have to love what you see.
Wow.
You have to love what you see, because if you don't love you, how would you expect anyone to receive you?
Yeah. Or, you know, you'd be very disingenuous and you don't show up authentic. You know, people love to throw out that $25 word. Oh, let's show up authentic. Or I empower you. How in the world, and I ask this honestly, you know, how in the world can somebody empower me? I empower me with your teaching, with your philosophy, with your wisdom, with your talk therapy. You give me tools, but I am the one that empowers me. I am also the one that disempowers me. I am the one that holds the control. And people don't know themselves. They're very fearful, especially right now. There's so much turmoil, so much uncertainty in the world with this COVID-19, with all of the, you know, financial destruction that has happened. People have lost their business. They've lost their sense of self, but they have found a connection with their children because now they're homeschooling. They have found a connection with God because they feel that there's nowhere else that they can turn. So with all of that taken into consideration, where do you begin when you start working with a new client? When they start to do that true introspective work, where is the beginning?
So that's an interesting question, because the beginning is literally understanding that you are running an alpha state. And I make it akin to being in the movie, reacting from the movie, reacting in with all of the relationships in the movie. And you're like, I got it, go, go, go. I got it, you know, I got this, got that, move, 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 move. You're in alpha state and you need to come into beta, slow down, step out of the movie, observe yourself. Do you like what you see when you do that? How are the relationships that are interacting with me impact me? How are the relationships that I'm entering into, how am I impacting those people? Step out and become the observer of yourself. I make it akin to If you are walking around with your shoes on, you don't care what ground you're stepping on. You got coveralls over your shoes.
Right.
But as soon as you take your shoes off, guess what? You're very conscious of every step that you take, right? Because your feet are bare. And your feet are bare and you're a little bit more vulnerable. Oh my gosh, I could hurt my feet. I could step on something that's disingenuous. I can step on something that is sharp, that can cut. All of a sudden you're conscious. Well, why aren't we conscious when we're thinking?
Wow.
Why aren't we conscious when we are showing up for other people or showing up for ourselves? We go through life unconscious, just moving without thinking.
Right.
You know,
we are
when we get in trouble.
Our thoughts. We're the thinkers of our thoughts.
Right. And the first word that I introduce is just notice. Notice how you think. Notice how you act. Notice how you interact. Notice who's leading you through life. Is it your victim self? Is it your inner child that's high maintenance self?
Right.
Or is it your genuine confident self?
Right.
Notice.
Or is it other individuals leading you around by your nose?
You go.
Because they think that they know, they're definitely going to dictate to you exactly what your script should be. And that's not right. You have written a book. How many books have you written?
I actually have written one book, but it was so long that my literary agent took one chapter and made that a book. Wow. So I have a series in me, and working at the second one and waiting to hear from publishers on the first. So I'm there. And if I don't hear from the publisher soon, I will be marketing it myself.
Well,
so,
I self-published 3 and sold over 17,000 copies out the trunk of my car. Because I'm from LA, you from New York, so we know the hustle is real.
There you go.
Okay, and people will buy because it's not, it's not cookie cutter, it's not trendy. We don't have to be on anyone's bestseller list because the content is what they're looking for. Tell me, what's inside the pages of your book? What will we find?
So what you are going to find is a self-help memoir. So it is my journey transitioning from corporate and discovering my spirituality and discovering the indigenous studies and what it took to bring in humility and what it took for me to embrace my entirety of myself. And I call it a self-help memoir because at the end of every chapter, what you will find is the lessons that I learned in that aspect of my life, the affirmations that will help you, and then the questions asking you based on the story that you just read, what's going on in your life.
Wow, that's full. That is definitely full. Tell me a little bit about your coaching, your life coaching, and the programs that you're offering to individuals that are big enough and have the capacity, because working with you, you need to have capacity brains. You need to have space. You can't be a person with tunnel vision. Okay. That's like when you come on the edge, don't just be expecting this because you're going to get all of this. You're going to get the full Monty. Okay. So what can they expect working with you and how do they begin to work with you?
So basically it's just an engagement, but what they can expect when working with me is that I help people, and I want to say this with a caveat, get out of their own way. You have a dream, you want to be dreamed, and you haven't figured out how to embark on that road. You want to make a shift in your life and be a better version of yourself, and you haven't figured out how to do that. Or you've lost yourself, whether it be marriage, family, or otherwise, and you're trying to find how to bring forward that part of you that can stand in their truth, speak their truth, and not get lost among all of the different personalities that are taking place all around you. So I work with people with trauma. I work with people who want to embark on something new in their life and shift 360 degrees because they no longer love corporate life and they just want to create their own business and work in that manner. So you basically reach out and you engage. And the thing about it is that I can work one-on-one or I can work with groups. So pre-pandemic, I held retreats. workshops and large work groups that I actually worked with. So you can still engage me in those regards. However, I do them online now until we are post-pandemic. So really all it takes.
Unless you're in a country that is, minimally impacted, but here it's ridiculous. We're just now getting out of it. Where are you at right now, actually?
Right now I'm in Windhoek, Namibia in Africa.
Okay. And so what is the COVID situation there?
There's COVID here. I would say that basically you notice it when you go to the stores and you have to use your hand sanitizer and wear a mask inside the store. And the fact that there's a curfew here. Outside of that, life is good. Life is very good.
And so now what is their philosophy when it comes to care? Because there's, here in the United States, everybody's now worried about an African strain of COVID. Are they looking at holistic options? Because you're more out in the, in the villages with the people. Are they looking at experimental options with these vaccines? What are you hearing on the ground?
So first of all, the impact here is not anything like the United States, is what they're going through. So understanding that there's minimal impact, people are considerate of each other. Nobody imposes their viewpoint on the other person. I would say that they will probably create their own vaccination because at this point, there's no surge, there's no, oh my God, everything's out of control. There's no fear at every door.
There's no big there, right?
No. So all of that's absent. And with all of that being absent and that mindset being absent and out of your face, it's not in your face. You're really just conducting life as normal. Students are going to school, so on and so forth, and they take precautions. So with that said, it's all good.
Well, I definitely wanted to hear that from a medicine woman. I had a very, very engaging conversation yesterday with an outreach coordinator for pharmaceuticals about the vaccine. And so I had to make a choice because I am living in the United States, but this is going to be mandated, just like malaria shots or any other infectious disease. If I am going to be able to leave the United States, I am going to have this vaccine eventually. So I'm seeing that. So I kind of wanted to get your perspective on that. You have just been a wealth of information, and I just have enjoyed talking to you so much. I can't wait to catch up with you in 3 months, 4 months to see where you are, what you're doing, and the impact that you're making on the world. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you, to do more work, to follow you online, because she's everywhere, Brains. And really, to get into one of these groups. When things kind of slow down for me, I've got like 40 interviews scheduled. 40. I'm booked into, midsummer now already, but I want to get into it because I want to get involved and I want that connectivity. I feel the spirit. I feel the love, and I want my brains to experience this as well.
So you can get in contact with me at www.enolia.live. That's ENOLIA.live. And that's my website. And on my website, you will find meditations, classes, conversations, articles. You will find the plethora of everything that you would need to feed the soul. So another way to get in contact with me is that you can email me at www.info@enolia.live. So that, again, that's info@enolia.live. And I'll be happy to schedule with you, and you can schedule through my website also. I also have a presence on Facebook. So you can find me at Love's Infinite Possibility on Facebook. And again, that's Love's Infinite Possibility on Facebook. And I'm the only one there that says Enolia. Okay. And I also have a presence on Twitter. And that's Enolia Empowers on Twitter. I have Enolia Empowers on Instagram. And then I am also on LinkedIn. And again, that's Enolia.
Okay.
And then lastly would be the YouTube channel. So you can find me, and again, that's Enolia on the YouTube channel.
So Enolia is everywhere. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to definitely put a link here so that they can follow you. I ask that you share. I ask you also to subscribe to On the Edge with April Mahoney, because this is the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. And we get it in, don't we, my sister?
Yes, we do. And I thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me on the show. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the work that you do, planting seeds everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah, and they are going to grow organically, okay? We're not going to have no pesticides on our love. All right, brains, have an exceptional day. We love you and we care about you. Bye.
Bye-bye.